be better, improve, create a good team, create a great culture, deliver good quality, be compelling, win sales. It's relentless, and you just have to have that drive to make sure you never give up.
I'm Matt Cooper, and this is Bite Sides. Welcome to our latest edition of the Ausfine Bite Sides podcast. This is a banner day, because this is the first time we've got an external person coming in to share their journey. And I know I use that word a lot, but I'm going to try and tone down the whole journey thing. But their journey in working with Ausfine. Our first external person into the Ausfine Bite Sides podcast is our dear friend, Mr. Tim Kidman from the Fuel Agency.
Thank you, Matt.
Welcome, Timothy.
Lovely to be here, sir.
It's fantastic to have you, and thank you for taking your time out of your Friday to come and have a chat. I actually am really looking forward to this conversation, because I suspect I'm going to learn a lot more than I have up until this date, because I'm still somewhat flummoxed by the whole world of marketing, and I know that during our time together, I gave you a lot of confused looks as you threw a lot of different categorizations of what marketing is to us. So really interested to get into a deeper dive onto some of those delineations, because obviously you're a very knowledgeable person in that world, but it can be a little confusing. But before we kind of get to that, Tim, maybe just give a bit of background on yourself. Yep. Your history personally, like how you came to be in this world of marketing, and then also the evolution of fuel.
Oh, lovely. Well, thank you first for having me. Pleasure to be here. Probably harks back to my father. He was in advertising, and I swore I would never go into this. So here I am 25 years later with the brand Fuel. It started actually when I used to run nightclubs, and my job there was promote. And they were really successful, and we had a lot of fun, and it really helped cut my teeth and teach me about, brands and people and relationships and how they work together in harmony. And so I studied marketing and psychology with the intent of going into business and being a strategist and all these things. But what hadn't happened along the way was, given my background, I landed a job at Lion Nathan, and that was in selling beer. And so, again, a great background in understanding people and small business and the challenges that people face and trying to help them, with their beer. And we were selling against the might of CUB, and there were maybe 10 of us at Lion then. And it was great. It was a great atmosphere. We were a great close-knit team, and we got a lot done. And still to this day, it was probably a pinnacle of like a work experience working for other people. And so from there, I got poached by Linfox. And so I worked for Linfox in logistics and helping them with kind of sales still. But they put me on an executive management course and teaching me like neurolinguistics and negotiation skills and like all these really great things. But, I still didn't really know where I was going and what I was doing. I was probably ahead of my time. I'd turn up with my suit and they'd call me a yuppie and all this kind of stuff in the old days. And then I bumped out into a smaller agency that was looking at design, and we were looking after banks and super funds and kind of hotel groups. And that was where I started to get a better understanding of, okay, how do words and meaning and pictures start to tell a story about brands and what they stand for. And then I got poached by a company that did probably franchise networks is the easiest way to explain it, like the Shells, the Tabcorps, at the time Compact, they had stores as well. And so lots of reseller relationships. And again, learning about people, learning about retail, learning about what drove businesses and how small businesses kind of got about their thing. And then out of that, I thought, well, how hard can it be setting up an advertising agency? So I bumped out with the head of consulting for that company as well, and a head of sales, and we set up Fuel. And 25 years later, I'm still here. They've moved on to do other things, but that's kind of how I got into the agency game. So I've never been in an agency, never worked in an agency. Kind of came at it from a commercial focus because I felt at the time, surely there's got to be a better way for clients and agencies to work together. Surely agencies can be more transparent, can be more accountable, can be more creative. Surely it should be a partnership. And, I kind of went in boots and all because that's what youth and enthusiasm looks like. And so, and I've learned a lot on the journey.
It's interesting, so often that you'd go down, a path of going into setting up an agency, having never worked in one. Sometimes naivety is a superpower.
Totally.
Because if you knew what you know now, you probably wouldn't do it in many respects.
Business is not for the faint-hearted, and especially smaller business. I mean, we've been as big as 50. We've been as small as 10. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's a constant challenge to be better, improve, create a good team, create a great culture, deliver good quality, be compelling, win sales. It's relentless, and you just have to have that drive to make sure you never give up. Grit is the one thing I tell everyone. That's the difference.
It's so true. And I guess the evolution of this podcast is, as we mentioned, up until now, we've just had internal people. But part of the offering, I guess, of the podcast is that to share where we've come from and the pitfalls and the good things and the not such good things of growing a business, which people who tune into the podcast, it might resonate with them and take some learnings from our mishaps, so to speak. But it's interesting, listening to what you say. It's not easy. It's not easy growing a business, and there's lots of pitfalls, and there's lots of there's great things and such not great things as well.
It's a privilege. This is what I remind myself. I get to play in the sandpit to do my very best. I'm accountable for when it works. I'm accountable for when it doesn't.
Yep.
So it's been good to me, and hopefully we've been good to the people that we are here to support and help grow, because we want to be an agency that sees the potential in others, maybe that they don't even see in themselves.
And I think that's very true. And I think that if you can empathise with the customer, having gone through a similar journey, I apologise, but it is a fitting word, that you've gone through what they're going through, on a business level, maybe not their specific industry, but you're going through similar challenges in when you're trying to grow your business or look for new opportunities in your own business. So if you can empathise on the other side of the desk, then you can have that connection, and probably also helps you dive a little deeper into their branding as well and what their brand and products actually mean.
Yeah, look, the challenge is to try and unpack why is it that the people we work with work so hard doing what they do beyond the money, beyond the result, because that inspires you to a certain point, but then it has to be more. And when you can unpack what that more is and bring it out and allow others to see in, it's really engaging and compelling. And this is the challenge that we face with marketing and brands, is that how do we give them meaning that reflects the true intent of the organisations? And when we came to work with Ausfine, there's a real desire to make an impact and to do the hard yards and to be your word and to deliver on your promise at all costs. And that's inspiring. And the challenge for us was, how do we make that real? How do we express it in a manner that's not just the great work you do and the great work the other people do within the team? How do we make it reflect and provide a platform for you to step into? Because if you want to be a brand on the global scale, which you do in meat and dairy, we need to make sure that we give you a platform that gives you the stretch to lean into your future and smash it. And so we don't want to just push the dial. We want to rock it out of the park if we can. And that's hard, because I ask you questions about why and how and what, and they're challenging because,
they really are.
Yeah, marketing uses kind of stupid words that aren't common sense, and there's a dialogue that I think confuses, and it shouldn't. And because it's the passion you have that matters, and how you bring that to the people that you care about, which are your customers and your clients and your staff. And so it should be more about a conversation. Your brand should be a relaxed, easy conversation that you have with your customer, because it should just be who you are.
Yes, to all of that. And I guess that's a great segue into talking about our interaction and how we came to be working with you guys. Just a quick brief background. We tried many times working with different agencies around the whole marketing piece. And it's fair to say we always found it difficult for all those reasons you just mentioned. I always equate it to trying to grab smoke. You can see it and it's there and it's physical, but then you try and grab it and it disappears. And it's trying to distill what we think is great about Ausfine and its brand, and the integrity and the effort that we've put into building it, and the genuine care that we have for our customers and our suppliers, and doing a good job and following through on our promises. But how do you articulate that in a B2B world? How do you put that all together and go, right, well, here's our coherent marketing message?
That's a big question. It's effort, like everything. So it's understanding, it's doing the insights, it's doing the research, it's trying to understand your business-to-business relationships. You are people. It's a people game that you're in. You have a product, you have great services, but people make it happen for you. And so for us, it's what does your space look like? Why do customers want to buy? What are they concerned about? How do you solve their challenges? Where do you sit in the market? All of this is to hopefully gain a clear understanding of the core challenge and the core issue we're trying to fix. It's always sales. I get it. Every company wants to make more money, be more profitable, more successful. But who cares? Every company wants it. That's not desirable for someone external. It's not interesting. We want to know more about, well, why do you want to be this thing? And so that's the challenge, is to unpack that and then build a strategy around, okay, well, so who are your audiences? Where do we position you as a brand? How do you feel? And, one of the things we noticed, and it's not uncommon, it's almost all brands we kind of deal with, they speak about what they have. We have this and we have that and we offer this service and we offer these things. And what you do doesn't make you different, because there's a lot of people who do what you do. How you do it is maybe more interesting, because there's technology and there's craft and there's people and there's real skill in how you do that. But why you do it is the emotional reason. And as much as we can say that we don't buy emotionally, we do. We buy on how we feel, and then we post-rationalize. And that's even with big brands like yours that are strategic, that are relationship built on. People buy trust. People buy honest integrity and great product. And you've got to have all those things. But you had more, and we wanted to bring that out.
Use the term just then, post-rationalization, is that what it was?
Yeah. So we buy something and then we give ourselves all the reasons why we chose to buy it.
I love that.
And the reality is, people will buy a car because whatever, they say they love a car. But the reality is most cars are pretty good and have good quality and good engines and good safety and good platforms and all that. But people will align to brands that feel like them, that reflect who they want to be, that in a way present them to the world how they want to be seen. Now, that's more on a consumerism level, but business brands buy partners who can help them go into their future with energy and purpose and motivation and momentum. So you want to bring business partners in who get you and know how to help you get to where you want to go. And the great thing about Ausfine is, in the thing that you do it really well. And there's a huge supply chain in which you compete, but how you do what you do it exceptionally well. And the challenge is for the brand is to say that in an authentic way that feels trusted and that listens rather than preaches. You want to compel customers rather than convince. And most marketing tries to convince, but marketing and brands and comms that compels does it in a way that connects, and people love connections, and that's what we buy.
No, it's a really good point. And as you said, even if you mentioned the supply chain solutions, etc., as you rightly point out, there's a lot of people in the world that do that and offer that similar role. So how do you get the messaging across that we do it in a different way? And it's not necessarily a question. It was, I guess, just a theoretical question. It's that's the challenge that we faced in our engagement with Fuel, is like how to distill that down into a brand or a messaging or a format, which it leads me on to the question of the difference between branding and marketing and all the subsections that are there. So just a quick snapshot in your mind, the different buckets that fall under marketing.
Now, this is how I see marketing, and there will be textbooks that probably see it differently. Marketing is business for me. So it's your brand, it's your product, it's your price, it's your channel, it's everything that you do. And so we don't look at it from a communications perspective only, which is outbound. We look at internal. So when we look at marketing and brands are how you behave and act, not what you say. People will quickly call you out if you don't do what you say. And so the goal is to align the internal behavior, culture, energy, effort, and express that externally so that the two are in harmony. And that's not easy to do because it's not easy to understand why you do what you do, how you're better or different than anyone else, why they should buy from you, etc. So in marketing terms, the role for us is to help you define where you want to go and help take you there with the messaging, with the culture, with the environment, and with the products that will deliver on that goal. You're a CEO, a fascinating piece of 3 steps that I heard was all good CEOs do 3 things well. They create a vision that is powerful and energetic and purposeful that inspires their team. They hire the very best people in service of that vision, and they keep money in the bank. Those 3 things are easy to say, but a lot harder to do. It starts with purpose and strategic intent, and then it's about aligning everything into that vision. Because if you stand for something more than profit, you care about clients, you want to help them be better, and you're committed to doing what you can to improve their lives, that's inspiring. People want to work with brands like that. That's what we want. They're the brands we want to work with that want to do more than make money, because everyone wants to make money.
So, I mean, that is, the way you describe it is that it's a higher purpose than just making money. And one of my questions to you today was very much going to be around the B2B marketing versus the B2C marketing and your experience in dealing with both. Just listening to you talk, it would seem that I would have thought that B2B marketing is a lot harder than the B2C, because B2C, in most instances, you've got a very defined offering, either being a product or a service, that this is what it is and easy to market. But from what you're saying, where you get so much deeper into understanding the purpose of a company, etc., that perhaps the B2B isn't such a challenge because you are trying to go deeper than just the product or the service on offer.
Yeah, look, great question. They're both hard. They're because you're trying to find a way to propel the brand or the product or the service forward in a way that's different than everyone else. And as I mentioned, cars, but you could do anything. You could do salt. It doesn't really matter. There's plenty of products out there that are not easy to differentiate. And so brand is what makes it stand out. The thing that you're remembered for when you're not there. That's your brand. And so, yeah, sure, B2B is more about relationships. It's a different marketing toolkit probably. And I'll call it FMCG or, product-based marketing is often more about, I'll call it, driving sales, driving transaction, driving foot traffic, conversion rate, transaction value. They're the metrics that sit more around retail. Whereas business to business is about longer selling cycles. It's relationship-based. A product on a shelf doesn't have a relationship with a person. It's not quite the same thing. And so it's a similar challenge that we lean into with different levers. But the trick is to not fall into the trap of making it complex. And, while you say to me, I made your eyes glaze over with words, that's probably.
It wasn't glaze over, it's just confusion.
Well,
there's a difference.
And I take responsibility for that, because our job is to speak clearly and authentically in a way that makes sense, because that's how your brand should be. Clear, authentic and purposeful, and just makes sense. And the rest of what you do will come through because you're doing what you say you're going to do. And, there's an old adage, it says what it does on the pack. Is a great line to remember. If you are your word and you do what you say, you're a long way further forward.
Just to put a bow on that conversation, where is your preference to work on? Is it B2B or is it B2C? Would you prefer to work on a retail equivalent product that's direct consumer facing, or do you enjoy a more B2B that's kind of a little more difficult to get to the heart of? We
don't look at it that way. We look at it. We want to make an impact. We want to change the momentum of brands and clients and people that we work for. So we're driven by seeing the potential in others and helping them get there. And so that brings us joy when we see companies who are batting outside their weight, who are achieving goals that they couldn't see, and that we played a part in that journey, that are making the world a better place, or even just doing a better job for their families. That's fantastic. This is purposeful. This is what inspires us. We want to see ourselves as an independent impact agency. It's not just about the challenge. The challenge is the people and why you're doing what you do. That's what we love. We love, because everyone's got a thing. Everyone's got something. It's not about the thing for us. It's about the people behind it and what they're trying to achieve with it. And so what we love is trying to help them be their very best, because if we can help them be better and help them achieve what it is that they set out to achieve and push them even further, have them try harder, have them challenge themselves. A lot of it is about motivating, guiding and nurturing the outcome and helping them get there, because what they're often struggling with is a whole bunch of complexity and a whole bunch of competing demands that make it feel like it's an insurmountable effort. If we can distill that into something clear and succinct and package it up and bring it forward with clarity and purpose, it just unlocks people and companies and how they go about it. And we've been lucky enough to do that, and that's what inspires us.
Yeah, it's a great comment, and that's definitely been the challenge. And going back to the very beginning of our integration together in our marketing efforts is your insistence to get deeper and keep asking why. But I often remember you saying, yes, but that's an external thing, or it's an internal facing thing, and it did lead to some frustration, some genuine frustration. Probably as it should, because that's where you kind of go, you have that insistence to dig deeper, get deeper. And I think from that, you're cutting through a lot of noise and assumptions to get to that clear messaging at the end of the day, which is hard. The whole process is difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard. I'm holding a mirror up to you and asking you to be accountable for who you are and what you're here to do. That's not easy. That's confronting. And so a lot of it is about...
It really can be.
It really is. And, and we do this for our own brand, and it's confronting for me. It's no easier for me because the same challenge exists. Purpose, intent. Am I doing what I set out to? Am I achieving where I wanted to be? Am I reflecting the person that I want to be in the universe that I exist? All these things.
Very deep.
Yeah.
You just thought we're going to have a slogan, right? And you're asking about the existence in the universe.
Look, slogans. It's... Yeah, maybe I'm a bit esoteric, but I like to feel...
No, it's great. I enjoyed that deep conversation, but I think you walk into it with the assumption that it's going to be somewhat surface deep, and then all of a sudden you're getting thrown much deeper into thought processes, etc.
And this is where we find some agencies miss the mark. If they try and wrap a bow around it and build a veneer, but it's not. It's about the purpose and the strategic intent. So it's a strategic challenge, not a design challenge. And so it's not about a snappy line or a slogan, because if you can't live it and be it and deliver on it, then it's just words. And so... words have meaning, and we want to use less words where we can, because people are busy. They're bombarded with a lot of information. Welcome to another podcast. It's like you want to be succinct and clear, and clarity is hard. And, Winston Churchill, I would have written a shorter letter, but I didn't have enough time. I mean, there's gold in that. It takes effort to be succinct and clear. This is what we try and help our partners do.
I love that quote, by the way. I've never heard that. That's good. I like it. I think as we kind of come towards the end of our chat, I just want to maybe take a broader view of your world and what you're kind of leaning into going forward. So not necessarily just about Ausfine and our integration, but more looking with your eyes further up, just into your world. And as you mentioned before, it's a very noisy world now as the amount of platforms that come, including podcasts, etc. There's probably 1 billion podcasts out there, all vying for attention. But the social media platforms, and then obviously you have your traditional media outlets, etc. How do you navigate that in your world of trying to get your message out there to the right ears and the right eyes? How do you navigate this modern world of noise?
Well, you start with what it is you're trying to achieve, because different channels have different audiences and have different listening types and have different information needs. And it's trying to make sure that you speak in a harmonious, clear way across those channels. So if you're trying to build a business, sure, you've got to build inquiry, you've got to build sales, you've got to build relationships. And for us, it's about, because, we compete against global agencies, we compete against smaller shops. I mean, everyone's a marketer. Everyone's a creative. Everyone will have an opinion about what it is that we do. And interestingly, if you look at, the legal side of the business, or accounting, or the operations, or sales, they're kind of well known and understood, and people don't really challenge them like they challenge creativity. But it comes with a real skill. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's hard to be clear and succinct. And so for us, we don't see the noise. We just see another way in which we can reach people that matter. And we don't want to be, we're not for everyone. Great brands aren't for everyone. They're for who matters to them. And so the trick is to not use every channel to shout loudly, because there's too many people doing that already. It's to be clear. In fact, often it's the soft voice that allows people to lean in and listen. And so finding your voice is what matters, and finding the way to bring that voice through. And in the business-to-business environment, there are wonderful tools now like podcasts where people get to lean in and get a sense of, who's Matt? And he sounds like a nice person. He asks good questions and he's got this, great vibe. That goes a long way, because you're bringing your personality forward, and people are able to lean in and find you more endearing and, nice and approachable. This is what people want. We're in a busy, busy world with lots of crazy things going on. So I think harking back to, maybe call them old-fashioned values, is, people like integrity and respect, and to be heard and to be understood. The seek first to understand before being understood, which is a Stephen Covey thing. Really good lesson, because you need to listen more. And good partners listen.
Yeah. Great summary. With these new platforms, I guess in some respect, in your world, they might be a threat, but also an opportunity, because you're getting your more nuanced messaging out there to the right ears and visually to the right eyes. You're able to use those platforms yourself.
Yeah, it's because we sell this lightning in a bottle that you speak about. It's an intangible, and so it's hard for people to understand what it is that we're saying, because there's no product here. It's the solution is dependent on the opportunity and the client and their intent and their strategy. So nothing is ever the same. And so how we look at it is, to lean in and focus on those things where we feel we can power you forward. One of our kind of mantras is fuel it further. And for us, the fuel is the energy we bring. The it is the understanding, the knowledge, the creativity. And the further is the propelling you, your sales, your channels, your opportunities, your intent forward. So sure, we will use social and digital and those kind of things, but we're probably like a cobbler. We don't often do the things for ourselves that we do for others, because my focus has been on helping partners and clients. And, I probably need to be better at that. And that's part of my journey this year is we're relaunching the brand, we're rebuilding our purpose, we're taking that to market, and that'll be coming out in the next week or so, actually, which is great.
Look forward to it.
And it's been hard, Matt. It's been all the things that you've struggled with, I've struggled with as well. I've had to hold that mirror up to myself and go, am I living a purposeful life? Is this business delivering not just for our clients and our partners, but is it making sense to my team? Is it going in a path that I feel is making an impact on the world? Because I feel the business that I'm part of can make a bigger impact than I can make by myself. So if I can help this brand be better at what it does and help bring food and happiness to more people in a simple way, that's a positive thing. And every positive engagement and outcome that we can be part of makes us feel like we're doing something worthwhile rather than selling strap lines, as you say.
Very good, mate. I was going to ask another question, but I'm kind of reluctant to do it, because I think that last comment was a nice way to kind of put a bow on it and finish up the chat for today. But once again, really appreciated you coming in today. Thank you for your time. It was great, as I knew would happen. I've learned just as much today as I do from every engagement with you, Timothy. You speak speak very eloquently, and I always love a Winston Churchill quote.
Oh, lovely, me too. Thank you, Matt. I've very much enjoyed it, and look forward to helping you in whatever way we can.
Excellent, and I look forward to that relaunch of the fuel branding and the outcome of that. Looking into the mirror.
Stay
very
posted.
much looking forward
Cheers.
to it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much.
Thanks.